I actually did not watch the Grammys,
Oh.
and I'll tell you what I watched instead. And I
watched the Pro Bowl.
No. Oh God, no. I've never been a Pro Bowl fan. I watched WWE wrestling, the Royal Rumble.
Oh, see, I watched bits and pieces of the Pro Bowl. They were actually hitting each other.
From what I read, I didn't watch it.
This was the best Pro Bowl ever, probably.
It was the first Pro Bowl that was decided by 1 point since like the 1980s.
Yeah, they were actually hitting each other. Teammates were like, did you see Josh Gordon got flipped by his teammate T.J. Ward?
I saw Derek Johnson's hit on Jamal Charles leveled him too.
And then Mike Tolbert barreled over Luke Kuechly.
Yeah, I mean,
So teammates were going hard after each other.
they were going hard after each other. I think the fancy draft added some sort of electricity to it, if you will. But I still think it's the worst All-Star game for sports.
Hands down, not even close.
But it drew 11.2 million viewers. It was the highest watched All-Star event of any major sport in America.
The draft definitely did have.
I was shocked.
Wait,
Darren Ravello tweeted out that one.
I thought that it actually didn't beat MLB actually this past year.
According to Darren Ravello Twitter, that's what I read the other day. I don't know if that's based off Darren Ravello, I believe.
Right. But yeah,
Don't quote me.
I will say you missed out on the Grammys. I'll tell you right now.
I watched my girl Taylor Swift's performance, and I was pretty pumped.
Did you see when she thought she won the best album?
Yeah. I didn't see it, but I watched the replay on YouTube.
Yeah, that blew up on the internet when she thought that she won.
That was pretty harsh, though.
What was harsh?
They read that like it was going to be read, and then they went to Daft Punk's.
They were like random.
Yeah, it was like.
She seemed least excited of anybody too. Like when they all thought they won.
Well,
but yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a T Swift fan. I'll let it be known.
It was amazing. My two favorite performances that show were actually Ringo Starr when he sang "Photograph," and the legendary Beatle, and Robin Thicke actually did his performance with Chicago. It was fantastic.
You want to know a really embarrassing story? Really embarrassing. I was texting my girlfriend, and she's like, Chicago and Robert Thicke just had a really good performance. And I'm watching my wrestling, and I'm not really paying attention to the Grammys. And I was like, I thought they were talking about Chicago the play. I thought that Robert Thicke was doing like a mix-up with like the Chicago cast.
They're like a horn band. They were really good though.
I heard they were fantastic.
It was very good.
But my girlfriend was ashamed of me. She like wouldn't talk to me for 10 minutes. She's like, I'm ashamed of you. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm watching Danny O'Brien do battle against Bray Wyatt on WWE. Priorities. Priorities.
There we go. Anyway, though, anyway, there is a big game this Sunday, though. That Sunday last week, it's a nice setup for the real game this Sunday that we all have been looking forward to. And mind me, though, I mean, I know we had the brothers go against each other last year, but there's something about this Super Bowl. It seems like it's getting a lot more attention than the Super Bowl normally does.
I think it is. You can't get a better billing because these were the two best teams heading into the offseason that people were picking to win the Super Bowl, and they're here. I think they are the two best teams in the NFL. I mean, you could argue the 49ers are better than Seattle, but they didn't win.
They didn't win, yeah.
The AFC clearly dominated by the Broncos. They deserve to get there from the AFC. And listen, it's the top defense versus the top offense. It's pretty much right split down the middle. Peyton Manning versus the Seattle Seahawks secondary. I think it's going to be a good game. I do.
I think that with the amount of Richard Sherman has generated after his post-game thing, which I had no problem with that, honestly.
I disagree with you. We'll get that to
I didn't really have a problem with it though because it was a heat of the moment. You gave him time to cool off.
No.
The outlash that he's been getting at like the stuff that's been said about him and to him after this, I think is not deserved, honestly. The thug and everything on the social media.
Okay, that's bad. But I will say this: that first preliminary interview after the play, fine. You can be pumped up. You could say what you want. But he continued with that message for a good half hour after the play, saying the same thing to all different types of reporters.
You know what? I thought the same thing. But then when he said right away the first chance he got, he goes, the only what I really wish I could have done is mention my teammates more. Because in your
of course you're going to say that hindsight 2020.
He's a big team. He's a big team guy though, Richard Sherman. He is a big team guy. Okay, look, am I his biggest fan? No, but I don't really have a problem because honestly, look, Crabtree was doing a little talking during the game too. Okay, and look, I don't know if
that's part of the game between the wide receiver and.
I think he was toning him honestly, but I think he was toning him.
What do you think of the whole backstory with the charity event?
What charity event exactly?
The whole thing.
Yeah, when
who picked the fight? Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I mean, they settled. I think whoever settled it on the field, would have been better, but Sherman won though. So. Yeah,
Sherman won. Listen, it was a great play. He got his hand up so fast, but that was the last second.
What he said was not wrong though. He is the best corner in football.
Oh, hands down.
He is the best corner in football.
Hands down, without a doubt. Without a doubt, he is. There's no denying that fact. And I love when someone asks, "Are you better than Darrelle Reeves?" He's like, "Yes."
Well, he
Yes,
is
I
now.
am.
Now he's now that's perfectly.
I thought he was heading into this season. To be
I
honest
thought
with you.
heading into the season, I think he needed to do a little bit more. But I think after about 2 or 3 games this year, it wasn't even close. Honestly, with Reeves coming off the injury and everything, and now Reeves has to adjust to apparently a system that doesn't fit him well in Tampa with the Tampa 2 apparently.
Yeah.
That Lovie Smith is bringing in there. Good hire, by the way.
I think it's a great hire.
I think it's a very good hire. Anyway though, I'm very excited for this game though because I want to see Richard Sherman on Demaryius Thomas because
It'll be a great matchup.
I think
It
that
will.
Sherman has not faced a receiver like Thomas in these playoffs. I don't think Marcus Colston's had a very off year.
In the playoffs, I agree. Definitely.
Yeah, in the playoffs,
no,
that's
hands
what I'm
down.
saying. Yeah, I mean, Demaryius Thomas had a fantastic season, so
He did.
I don't think he'll be on Decker really. I don't think that he'll.
No, it's Richard Sherman, Demaryius Thomas. He's going to follow him around the
Thomas
field.
had a fantastic year and he's red hot as of late. I mean, I know maybe stats wise, but like just you see the attention that he gets, like that affects Decker and Welker too. So and Julius Thomas. I don't know. I know Seattle's got a great defense, but I think he's the X factor.
He is an X
in this
factor.
big game. I think he's the X factor because Seattle, you can say, he's got that great secondary, but Thomas is one of those guys where he's too big for a secondary guy.
And he's too quick
fat.
for a linebacker.
Exactly. Thomas is one of those guys. So.
I mean, I agree with you. This is going to be a great game.
Especially in this cold weather, if Peyton can't throw the ball too far.
Again, listen, I don't think he was going to take many deep shots anyway against the Seattle secondary, so I don't think that Cole's going to have that much effect on it. If he's going to pass the ball, it's going to be those short, quick passes. Now, the problem with the Broncos is the Seattle secondary is the best press coverage secondary in the NFL.
No question.
And if they bump someone hard, it'll mess up that timing, and then the short routes are screwed. That's why my X factor is going to be Noshawn Moreno in the running game for the Broncos.
That makes sense. He was my number 2. So
if they can run the ball, force Seattle to come up and respect it, it opens up the play action for Peyton Manning. He's the best play action quarterback in the NFL. And also, if you could take some of the pressure off Peyton Manning, because you know he's going to put it all on his own shoulders. But if Noshawn Moreno can maybe or if the team could run for 125 yards and have a good play calling split between running and passing, I think the Broncos are in much better shape than if they just give it to Peyton and say, "Here, this is your team, you carry us." I think they got to split the load.
I agree with that. You want to know why? Because look, Denver's defense, I was shocked. They played very well against the Patriots.
They did.
They played incredibly well against the Patriots. Sorry about that.
Listen, I couldn't even watch the game because I was at work. So.
Oh, really?
There was a men's game that day. Men's game. I was at work from 11 until 6, and I missed all of the game.
Oh, that's
so I was getting the text
terrible.
updates, and it was a rough time.
No, Denver's defense was fantastic, and they were fantastic for the most part against San Diego, and then San Diego had the late comeback. But I think that Marshawn Lynch is going to be able to run. That's the thing is, I don't think Russell Wilson's going to have too much pressure. I think Marshawn Lynch is going to have a big.
No, I ask you this because Marshawn Lynch is the same. Now he's better than LeGarrette Blount, but they're the same type of runner. Make contact and then go forward from there. And the Broncos did a good job of shutting down LeGarrette Blount, who was one of the hottest running backs in the league heading into that Denver game. And the Broncos were able to shut him down. So that's why I don't think Marshawn Lynch is gonna go off as big as people think because the Broncos handled the same type of runner against the Patriots. Granted, not nearly as good, but the same type of style.
Why I think it's a little bit different though is because what is the difference between Tom Brady and Russell Wilson that Russell Wilson can do better than Brady?
Well, Russell Wilson can run.
Exactly. They can do a lot of the read option stuff on this Denver defense, and I think that they're going to do a lot of it. Russell Wilson is never one to shy away from running. So
you know, I tell you this though is that the Broncos linebackers are built for speed. They're not built for the tough physical play. I think they'll live with Russell Wilson running the ball instead of Marshawn Lynch going absolutely crazy.
So yeah, the thing is, I don't disagree with that absolutely at all. But what I am saying is, I think that a lot of times because Wilson is known to keep the ball a lot on this read option, that's why he keeps it more than any quarterback who runs it. So that's why I think Lynch is in a.
He keeps it more than Kaepernick.
He keeps it more than Kaepernick. His statistics show Russell Wilson keeps the ball the most.
I believe you.
But yeah, that's why I think Lynch could be for a big day because you say these guys are built for speed. Lynch is not a fast. I mean, he's got breakaway speed, but once he hits past the hole, the initial hole, he's not a very fast runner. He's not like a speed demon through it. Once he gets the second level defenders though, he's very hard to catch. The thing is, he's a hard man to bring down. I think in this cold weather too, Lynch is definitely going to be in for a big day because he plays in the cold weather. Like it was 60 degrees in Denver for the AFC Championship game. Denver cold is a little bit different from most places because of Denver's weather, Colorado and all that. So, but I think definitely Lynch is going to have a big day. But my Seahawks X factor though is going to come on the other side of football. It's not any of the guys on the secondary. It's the linebacker Bobby Wagner.
I can agree with you. Bobby Wagner, one of the most underappreciated linebackers in the NFL.
He is the leader of that defense. Absolutely, I think the leader of that defense. When it comes to calling all the defensive plays, he's the leader of that defense.
I mean, yeah, no, he's absolutely fantastic, and I think, agreed, the secondary is going to perform. It's going to be how that front seven of Seattle performs, because if they get pressure on Peyton Manning, it also immensely goes in the Seahawks' favor.
Yeah, the Seahawks can get pressure. The thing is,
they can.
Clark, I don't know. I keep forgetting Clark's first name. The guy who took over for Ryan Clady and Orlando Franklin are been playing exceptional this year.
No, the Broncos' offensive line has really stepped up in the playoffs.
Luis Vasquez was a steal from San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have a lot of former Chargers on the team, but Vasquez has been a fantastic pickup at right guard for them.
Yeah, I think, again, the Broncos, I think their offensive line has overperformed with all the switches they've had to make, but they've done a very good job. I'm not too worried about them, frankly. I think that they'll be able to hold their own. And also for the Seattle X Factor, it's cliche, but I'm going with Russell Wilson. Because he has not played well the second half of the season. People have pointed it out. But he's played well in the big moments. When they've needed to score, he's led them down the field. Just look at that San Francisco game in the playoffs. He was huge in that fourth quarter and got them the win. Also, their defense forced 3 San Francisco turnovers. But still, if he needs to play well in the big moments. Because if he has a lackluster game where he's not good, because he's only been playing okay. Let's be honest. He's been a middle range quarterback. He needs to step his game up a little bit, because you're playing against Peyton Manning. You got to bring your game to at least another level of what you're expected if you want to compete.
If I couldn't agree more, honestly. It's like I said, it's scaring me. We are agreeing a lot. It is scaring me a little bit, honestly. But anyway, to go off of that though, I think if both defenses play the way that they played during the if the Seahawks have played the way they've essentially played the whole year, and if Denver plays the way they played against New England last week, see, because Seattle reminds me a lot of your Patriots actually in the offense. With how LeGarrette Blount was doing running the ball, they're a mainly running team. Now, Russell Wilson clearly is not Tom Brady, but I think Seattle doesn't have a great arsenal of weapons, kind of like Brady didn't have any this year, really. So they don't have a great arsenal. Golden Tate's a solid receiver. He could start on a lot of teams.
To me, he's like a Julian Edelman.
He's a solid receiver.
He's not great, but he's good.
He gets the job
Granted,
done.
I love Julian Edelman.
He gets the job done, though. You're going to have to pay up for him, honestly. He had a good year, so.
I will pay him. Because his payment will still be cheaper than what Wes Welker would have wanted.
Welker was $6 million a year. I mean, I thought that was a discount.
To be honest, though, if you look at what the Patriots got out of Edelman and the not paying for Wes Welker, I think they made off like bandits.
I still think the guy that was supposed to replace Welker was Danny Amendola.
Oh, I agree. I'm not denying that fact, but Julian Edelman stepped up.
He did absolutely.
Huge.
He almost made the Pro Bowl. He had a case for it too.
He did have a case for it.
He had a case for it. The thing with that is, though, I think you're a better team with Wes Welker than without Wes Welker, because the connections that he had with Brady, I think you are a better team with Wes Welker, honestly, on the team.
We'll see.
Edelman definitely did do a good job, though. Don't get me wrong.
Well, we have to re-sign Edelman for next year, as a Patriots fan.
But what I was saying about is, see, Denver's defense was so impressive last week, because I don't think they're going to be intimidated by Seattle's offense. I mean, if Lynch doesn't have a big day, I think Seattle has no chance, honestly. Because I don't think Wilson's going to have a big day.
No,
I don't think he is. I really don't think he is. I mean, Champ Bailey's going to probably play his heart out.
He played really well filling in for Chris Harris in the secondary against the Patriots.
I actually picked the Patriots to win that game because Chris Harris was hurt.
I did too.
Because Chris Harris was hurt. I thought they have overcome these injuries tremendously, from Clady to Von Miller to Trevathan, though, the linebacker for Denver, isn't one guy that needs to step up big time, though. He had a very good game. Terrence Knighton was the MVP, though, for the Broncos in that game. If he plays the way he's been playing for these past 2 weeks, I like Denver, honestly, in the game, because I think no matter what, Peyton Manning will find a way to score points.
All right, before we get to our predictions, I want to ask you something, because there's a lot of, I guess, headlines being that this game is in the Northeast. It's being played and where the Giants and the Jets play their home games. It's going to be cold, possibility of snow showers. I want to get your opinion on the weather, if it's going to have any impact on the game, and your thoughts as a whole. Is it fair that this game is being played in an atmosphere where weather may play a big factor?
No. Honestly, I think they're making way too big a deal out of it. They can play conference championship games in cold weather, and they don't complain about it. I mean, yes, I know the Super Bowl traditionally is in a southern city, but you have to try it as honestly once. I mean, and if you're going to have to try it once, it's going to be some Super Bowl, obviously. So someone's going to have to take that. This Super Bowl's taking a hit. Do I think it's a big deal? No. If they played in cold weather, probably, at some point during their careers, and they've all handled it. I mean, Seattle is in the Pacific Northwest, which is not warm over there, and Denver, it can either be 60 and sunny or 10 degrees and snowing there. So
Now I ask you, if San Diego made the Super Bowl, being from sunny California, your thoughts? Would it be more unfair?
See, I don't know honestly because I haven't seen. Obviously, you see Denver, you see Seattle play in the cold. That I mean, I don't know. But the thing is, San Diego's not in the game, so I didn't really think about
Exactly.
that.
No, again,
I don't.
No, I want you to hear me out on this because I had a show yesterday, opposite to track with Anthony Carroll. We got into this discussion, and he's adamant that he loves it. He loves that it's outside in possibly bad weather. I am not a fan of it, and I'll tell you why. Because it's this one game where you have the two best teams going up against each other, and I think you should have them in a neutral atmosphere where they can both perform at their best level. And I think when you have bad weather implications or it's being played outside, the wind can blow a certain way stronger in one quarter and it can affect the game. And then of course my buddy Anthony was like, well, that happens during the regular season. And to that I say the regular season is over 17 weeks and that bad weather evens out as it happens. It evens out and eventually goes 50-50 for the teams. This is one game. It's the two best teams. You should put them in a dome, in an atmosphere where they're both going to play at their highest level without any variables deterring that.
I see both sides to the argument. I really do. But I mean, is it bad to at least try and see how?
No,
really
that's
goes?
the thing. I don't disagree with trying
to try.
it. Yes.
Yeah, I gotta try. And some Super Bowl, obviously, whenever it was gonna happen, somebody was gonna have to. And if you're gonna try it, you have to do it in New York too. If you're gonna try it, I think.
Oh, well, of course, the market. Yeah, the market. Oh, yeah, of course.
You have to try it in New York, even though the game is technically. So Chris Christie doesn't get mad. The game is in New Jersey. So
game's in New York, Chris Christie. Take a break.
I mean, the stadium's in New Jersey, but everything else is in New York essentially. But I think look, you had to try it out once. I don't think the players are gonna really, because no matter what, the players will never use weather as a reason why.
Oh, they'll never know. No.
They'll never say that. I mean, these guys at some point have had to play in cold weather. I mean,
I agree.
Russell Wilson played college ball at Wisconsin for a year or so.
No, I agree. It's just for one game in what is the biggest sporting event in America, maybe the world, besides maybe the World Cup championship. This event, I think, should be played in a neutral place where both teams can perform at their highest level.
I definitely see the both sides to it,
but you have to try it once.
But you can even also say like what if it rains in the South? You know, like it rains in the.
It's
South.
always in a dome. I'm saying it needs to be in a dome.
Oh, always in a dome. Yeah.
I'm saying it needs to be in a dome.
Yeah, but then you know what they'll say is the reason why? Because then the air's not flowing in. They'll have oxygen. You know, they have oxygen tanks and everything. And last year, apparently, did you realize last year's Super Bowl how many helmets came off in the middle of play?
I did not realize that.
It was like the most amount of game like that Super Bowl in like about like 20-something years, the amount of helmets that came off during play in a game. So
that's weird.
Yeah, I think I don't. I mean, the dome makes sense honestly. Like a lot. I mean, you can go a million ways, but you have to try this once. So do I have a problem with it? No, I really don't honestly. And the fact that they should be. I mean, they're football players. I mean, look, they definitely suck it up on the field no matter what. So. You're lucky you got teams that probably know how to play in cold weather, though.
Exactly.
You are lucky in that.
Though I do think this will be the only time the game's played outside in the Northeast.
Well, you got to see how it goes. I mean, if it really isn't too big of an effect, honestly.
But it's also affecting the ticket price. Ticket prices are going down because people aren't going because it's going to be cold, and they'd rather sit watching it in the comfort of their living room, pigging out.
There is Super Bowl 50 is going to be held in Santa Clara, I guess you'd say. Really, they're a new home of the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. Up north in California, it's not warm either.
No,
Up north in California won't be warm either in a couple of years. So there's it has a more likely chance to be warm, but no guarantee that it's going to be. No guarantee it's going to be.
It's going to be warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I'd still go to the Super Bowl even if it would be 5 degrees. I would still go because it's an experience that you can never pass up in my mind.
I mean, I give credit to those Green Bay fans. Every playoff, they're in the playoffs every year essentially now. Green Bay.
Oh,
they always have a home game and they
That is the culture. That's just the epitome of fanhood. Is Green Bay. That small town.
It just makes me think honestly.
The Green Bay Packers is a religion in Lambeau.
Yeah, they have about 100,000 people in the town or something like that. Yeah. I mean, it is.
They wait a lifetime. People wait a life. They're on the season ticket holding list. They wait a lifetime to get it.
I know. I mean, I've watched that '70s show. Red Foreman waited 30 years. Red Foreman waited 30 years, and he finally got him.
That's right.
But Anyway, what I was saying, going back, I remember but in the NFC Championship, you remember the NFC Championship, Giants Packers. The kickoff time was -1 degree.
Mm-hmm.
If you can do that in a conference championship, I really don't see why it should be a problem in the Super Bowl.
Again, I get it, but I'm in the
There's an argument for both sides. There really is, I think.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, listen. Either way, it's gonna be a great game. And before we take a break, we're gonna need to go through predictions. You already said the Broncos are gonna win. I need your score.
I think no. See, the thing is, I think that I said if this stuff happens, I think that the Broncos will win. That's what I said.
I need a blank will win by a score of blank to blank, and the MVP will be blank.
Okay. I'm going with Seattle, 17-14.
You just went away from every point that you made in our previous discussion.
You want to know why I'm saying this though? Because what's the main thing that I said? That the first thing I said was Marshawn Lynch was gonna have a big day.
Okay, continue. I will let you finish your statement.
Marshawn Lynch is my MVP.
Okay.
And you need to score 17-14. I think that Peyton Manning will play a good game, honestly. But you know what? I think that Seattle will find a way for some reason. Their defense is just too good, I think, to let somebody just trounce all over them.
Okay.
I could be wrong, honestly. But if we're also talking about cold weather, I think this game perfectly benefits Seattle.
Okay.
Because Peyton Manning, when I saw him last year in the playoff game against the Ravens in the very cold weather, he couldn't throw the ball more than 25 yards.
But he was not the reason the Broncos lost that game.
Oh, he was not, because it was terrible coverage, but he couldn't throw the ball very well in that game. I think that Wilson is more used to playing in the cold than Peyton Manning. I don't think he'll have a great day, but I think Seattle's defense shows up more than Denver's defense does. I did say that.
Mm-hmm.
I said if they can't stop Julius Thomas, though, and if one of those guys in the Legion of Boom has an off day, the Legion of Boom, they're secondary, also for people who don't know. If they have one of those guys have an off day, then they're not. But the thing is, they haven't had a bad game this year.
No.
They've maybe only had one.
Except maybe against Arizona at home.
Maybe against Arizona at home. They haven't really had a bad game. I said I really think Marshawn Lynch is going to have a big game. I really do. Seattle got their guard James Carpenter back. Their offensive line is doing a lot better, it seems like, honestly, from the playoffs. I mean, I watched them playing a Monday night game against St. Louis Rams. They looked bad, but then they got their tackles back, and they looked like their offensive line looks a lot better than when I first saw them. So I think Lynch really has a huge game, honestly. He always has good games when he's in MetLife Stadium always against the Giants. He's always had a good game, whether it was no, he never played for the Bills when they played in MetLife. He wasn't on that Bills team, but he's playing the Seahawks about 3 games for them in MetLife Stadium. He's had a great game every single time. Something maybe just about that same, but Lynch is my MVP. Seahawks 17-14.
All right, we're going to disagree on this. I have the Denver Broncos winning at 24-21. I think Peyton Manning will be named the MVP, but I don't think he'll be necessarily deserving. I think they'll name him it because he's the most recognizable face in the NFL. I think the big thing for me is I think that the Broncos will be able to run the ball. I think the Seattle's going to be so focused on stopping Peyton Manning, and I think they'll do an okay job of it. But I think once the Broncos, if they run the ball successfully, which I think they will, it'll open things up for Manning, and then they'll be able to tear in quotes, meaning manage a good game against the Seattle secondary.
Right.
I don't think the cold weather is going to play that big of a factor. I really don't, unless it starts to rain, like freezing rain or something, because, I mean, that's the worst conditions to throw in as a quarterback. Then I think the Broncos might be in trouble, but I don't think the cold weather is going to have that big of an impact. But I think the Broncos pulled out 24-21. Also, big advantage for the Broncos going underrated, Matt Prater at kicker. By far the best kicker in the NFL.
Oh, why don't you look up Stephen Hauschka's stats then?
Matt Prater has the strongest leg in the NFL right now.
He also plays in Denver where the ball travels.
It doesn't matter. I'd take Matt Prater. The clutch is one of the best kickers in the NFL. Also in a big moment as well over Seattle.
You can trust me because I know this from fantasy because I had Mr. Hauschka.
I'm sure you did.
He was my fifth and final kicker I had. I got him though in the final weeks. He was so good in fantasy because Prater wasn't available. Because they didn't get rid of him. Some kid in my league cut him actually to allow. He was the second-rated kicker at the time, actually behind Steven Gostkowski. So he was actually ahead of Prater for most of the year in fantasy.
I will take Matt Prater over.
But
over anyone.
No, Stephen Hauschka. If you're gonna go like kickers, is not. I mean, I think yes, I would take Prater for my team, but Stephen Hauschka maybe like a number 2 or 3, maybe behind like that. He is not a scrub kicker.
Okay,
I'll tell you that. And
okay.
Also, if you want to play the special teams card, John Ryan has had a historic season as a punter. He's probably only allowed like 40-something return yards on punts this year. And also in special teams, that may come down to it. Maybe there may be a punt return in there or something like that. Golden Tate's a fantastic return.
No, I ask you this
as
though.
As is Trendon Holiday for Denver.
Exactly, that's what I'm going to say. Holiday for Denver is phenomenal, and we never touched on this. Percy Harvin, what's he going to do? He's back for Seattle. What do you think he's gonna do?
I don't think I don't think he's gonna have a good game.
I don't think he's gonna have a large impact either.
I think he's just destined not to play this year. His first is like second play against the Saints. He gets hit in the head. I mean, that was a good hit. That was a very hard hit. But he got hit right in the head, and I mean, I just honestly don't think he's gonna have an impact.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. We do agree on that.
I mean, look, all those points I made, by the way, just all those points made about Denver. I was favoring both sides, but I never said I said I think Denver would win if they do those things. Okay.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I respect it. Listen, it's gonna be a great game. We both know that.
Yeah. The two real best teams all year.
Oh yes, it is. Listen, and for anyone who said I called this in the beginning, you are not a genius because almost half the country did calling this game. Don't take a lot of credit. You can take a little bit of credit, but don't say going you're a football genius.
I mean, I had Seattle.
Pet peeve.
You heard me at the beginning. I had Seattle and Cincinnati. As long as I'll tell you, Mr. Redhead Andy Dalton is the quarterbacking the Cincinnati Bengals, I will never pick them to win the Super Bowl.
All right, we'll take a short break here. We'll get back to maybe some NFL award winners who we think is deserving, who is the most underrated player, or maybe the most underperforming team as well. We'll delve into all that stuff. And then by the end of the show, we're definitely going to talk some basketball because Kevin Durant is unstoppable.
Right now. MVP.
MVP right now. We'll take a short break here. This is the BS Report live on 365.com.